There's going to be times when characters feel real and alive, while other times they might feel flat, like a tire. The secret to making sure there is life in your characters often comes down to their motivations. Well defined motivations can transform characters from two dimensional figures into complex, believable individuals. So today we are actually going to explore character motivations, the secret to engaging storytelling. Motivations, what are they though, Thomas? What are they? Motivations are the driving force behind your character's actions, and they're basically a part of creating an emotional connection with your readers. So, motivations create drive, which leads to choices because they have to make choices to accomplish the drive or accomplish the actions to find the solution to resolve their purpose, right? So if I want something, I have motivations for that thing. I have a desire for something, either a career or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to have to make choices, but it's these motivations that some create relatable experiences. If it's about somebody accomplishing a sport or becoming the best, or like maybe they're an underdog and they're like going to be Mark Wahlberg trying to be a 40-year-old football player, for the Eagles. Uh, we could relate to that because we have strived for those big dream moments, right? So when a character's actions stem from well-defined motivations, it makes them feel like real people with genuine desires, fears, and goals. This connection will help readers invest in their journey because the reader understands and can absolutely relate to why characters make certain choices. So when the motivations are relatable, when the motivations, even if they're broad motivations, right? Because again, I could want to be successful in the music industry, and you could want to be successful as a painter. They're still the same kind of motivations to succeed doing the thing you love and to make a living within that field of interest, right? So then the choices you make might come off very similar to the choices that you're making as an artist. And that's we start to relate to that. We start to almost root for their journey because maybe their success means that we have a chance of success, right? And this connection helps the readers really truly invest into those characters. And motivations uh, basically turn characters into more than just plot devices. They become individuals with personal stakes, very important. And, without those stakes, without those motivations, without those characteristic choices that's coming on, the story just becomes plot. It just becomes like they are just chess pieces. And you don't want a character to be chess pieces. So you want to consider how motivations will add layers to the character, but not only their motivations adding layers to the character, but their motivations influencing the plot, like their choices, their desires. What are they willing to do? What are they willing not to do? What are their, you know, what are their positions where they'll be changed completely, somewhat, or not at all? And if they don't change at all, remember you double down. All right. But if their motivation is to feed their starving family, suddenly their actions take on new meaning because it adds moral complexity, right? And emotional weight. Are they now willing to rob and steal and do or commit crimes worse than that just to make sure their, I don't know, sick child is being fed and given medication, right? But this also allows readers to start questioning what they would do in that situation. It starts creating a philosophical debate, even if it's subconscious, right? And the whole thing is you got to explore both external and internal motivations. It's the things on right in front of you, and it's the things that are internally driving you. They're all very important. Let's do a quick walkthrough. There's no real time example, but we are going to sort of look at some basically motivations from famous stories. Famous, famous stories. Boop. All right. So let's start with Katniss. Katniss. All right. Volunteering for the volunteering for the Hunger Games, right? So what is her motivation, right? Well, Katniss' internal motivation is to protect her sister Prim. When Prim's name is drawn in the reaping, Katniss volunteers as tribute in her place, despite knowing the deadly risks. Right now, what is the impact though on this decision? How does this choice, right, influence the story and the plot? Right, this act of self-sacrifice it's basically establishing her character as driven by fierce loyalty and love for her family, that the people that are closest to her are the most important to her. And her motivations here is purely external, which is to keep her sister safe. And this moment is ultimately showcased through her willingness to basically put herself through harm, which then sets the stage for her resilience, which ultimately creates the survival instincts of the situation. All right. Now, what about the moment where Katniss forms, right? Forming an alliance with Rue. Rue. What is the motivation? Well, this is where Prim comes back into the picture, right? So Katniss sees Rue as a surrogate for Prim, which then rekindles her motivation to protect, right? To protect the innocent, right? Her protective nature, as it says, influences her to form an alliance with Rue, even though it's a risky move, right? But what is the impact on this decision? Well, the impact is that Rue's vulnerability reminds Katniss of Prim, shifting her motivation from survival alone to a desire to protect others. And that challenges the game's rules. The game's is only one shall survive, right? Whatever it is, 10 enter, only one will leave. So this drive here, basically, she's risking her own safety to look out for Rue, and later, to honor Rue's memory after her death, which begins to plant seeds of rebellion against the Capitol's cruelty and systematic ridiculousness. All right, which also affects and influences this next moment, right? When they defy the Capitol with poison berries, huh? The poison berries, huh? Her and Pita. Pita, right? What is the motivation here? Well, as it says, by the end of the games, Katniss's motivations shifts to defiance against the Capitol because she's like, these people are crazy. When she and Peeta threaten to eat the poisonous berries, it's a calculated act of rebellion aimed at undermining the Capitol's control. And you might think, but Thomas, if they both die, they both lose. So no one wins that year. But in reality, it's telling the viewers that are watching that, hey, we don't have to partake. We have a choice. One choice will lead to death for ourselves, but we don't have to be their entertainment. We don't have to be their toys, right? So, how is the impact on this decision? Well, this moment is a turning point where her motivations become both external and now internal. The external is survival and protecting Peeta. The internal is challenging oppression. Right? She's like, "Oh, I'm in control of my fate," and her actions ultimately go beyond personal survival because she's showing a growth and a desire to oppose the Capitals, whereas the book starts off where it's just survival to protect her sister. Then it's survival to get home to her sister and family. Then it's protect Rue, and then it's all right. Pete is a pretty interesting character. So let's see if and then it's like, what the hell with these stupid games? We will do something more. Oh, I got more. Okay. Motivation. Okay, next moment. Next moment is the last moment. Accepting the role of the Mockingjay. 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 All right. This is later on. This is not from the first movie, but in Catching Fire and Mockingjay, Katniss's motivation fully shifts to fighting for freedom and justice. Her decision to become the Mockingjay solidifies her commitment to the rebellion. And again, how does this impact on decisions? Well, now driven by this deeper desire to inspire and liberate others, Katniss takes on a leadership role, even at great personal risk. Her motivations in this situation here is basically largely internal. She wants to avenge the wrongs done to her loved ones and protect those who cannot fight. This influences her decisions as she becomes increasingly strategic and politically aware, preparing to sacrifice herself for the greater good. Now, ultimately, each of these moments reveals a shift in Katniss's motivations from protecting her family to embodying the spirit of rebellion. As her motivations evolve, they directly influence her actions, shaping her into a complex and layered character. Through these shifts, my friend, readers see not just a heroine fighting for survival, but a person whose convictions deepen as she's forced to confront greater injustice, making her journey both compelling and something we could root for. Root for. Root. Baby Ruth. All right. Do 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 do. Is this a takeaway? Yeah, this is a takeaway. Takeaway. So when you're hey, where's my face? When revising a scene, you can reveal character motivations in ways that feel natural and nuanced by paying attention to small details. Instead of directly stating why characters are doing what they're doing, try seeding or weaving in subtle cues and clues through their actions, expressions, and dialogue. These techniques allow motivations to emerge. Now, 4 quick things that you should know about. Boom, boom, boom. These things definitely will help you with presenting motivation. So incorporating the small actions. So basically, you know, actions reflect character state of minds. It underlining motivations. For example, if a character who is nervous about decisions might repeatedly glance at a photograph or fidget with a familiar object. This was very prevalent in Captain America, the First Avenger, when he has a photo of I can't even remember her name. The girl he loves. Captain America, girlfriend. Peggy, I think, right? Peggy. Yeah, Peggy Carter. So he constantly has a photo of Peggy Carter in his his thing. His what direction are we going? His compass. So that's a small action. It shows that his motivations is to get back to the woman he loves, right? And then at the end, when he looks at it before he crashes the plane, spoiler alert, he's basically remembering what he's sacrificing for. He's protecting somebody important to him, right? So highlight expressions and body language. If your character is motivated by fear, they might avoid eye contact, or more importantly, avoid situations. They might be like, I'm not risking my life. But a character driven by love or protectiveness could instinctively choose to go in place of their sister if their name is pulled from a goblet. So allow their choices to be very present. Allow their choices to be fueled by their desired motivations. Number 3, adjust dialogue tone if needed. You really do have to pay attention to how your characters speak when discussing certain subjects. This again is influenced directly by their positions on things. How greatly do they care about something? Do they care about it completely, somewhat, or not at all? Right? And if they do have a position that they are completely in, right, somewhat or not at all, and it gets challenged, they might change their positions. And rarely are they completely changed, like in the sense of like if I'm not a Giants fan, if I'm not a Jets fan, right, that means I have no interest in the Jets. But if I start connecting with somebody and I start learning and agreeing and caring, and I like celebrating the Jets with the Jets with this person, I might start liking them somewhat. It'd be very rare for me to completely like them. However, I've talked about this before, where if if somebody has a completely changes their position, they're no longer in that position. They're in a new position. Uh, so they here's an example, right? Let's say I don't like the Jets, right? But someone completely changes my position to like the Jets, right? The real thing that's happening is probably that I like experiencing the Jets with my friends or family. So I'm not so it's not really somewhat because some going from not liking them to somewhat to be like, if the game's on, I'll watch it. But completely is that, well, I want to support, I want to get into this because it's not really about the Jets, it's about the connection. So the complete change isn't that now I'm a Jets fan, right? Like I'm all in. I'm all into this relationship, these friendships, this family gathering. So like that's what the changes of position really kind of like look like. Whatever. All right, and finally, leverage. Oh, leverage the surrounding environment. Because sometimes the setting can be used to reflect the character's motivations. A character's nostalgia might. So, like, let's say they remember a familiar place, or they're driven by an ambition to get back to that place, or they want to have a luxurious lifestyle or surroundings. They might be driven by success and wanting to make lots and lots of money. And the thing is, by letting characters interact with their environment in ways that reflect their priorities, you add a layer of subtlety to their motivations. So basically, if they want to be super super wealthy, they might excel at their job or go above and beyond for their job, or they might take huge huge risks just to make a fortune. Yeah. All right. So final thoughts. Let's get to it. Character motivations are at the core. This is a quick final thoughts. Character motivations are at the core of what makes a story feel real. They're not just plot drivers, right? They're the emotional currents that pull readers into the story, right? And they make them, a reader actually cares about what's next when they care about the characters, when they can relate to what it is that motivates them, right? When characters have clear, compelling motivations, readers can relate to their struggles, triumphs, and even their mistakes and accept their shortcomings, especially when they believe in the same positions they believe in, right? This emotional connection is what transforms a simple narrative into a powerful experience, allowing readers to emphasize. All right. Listen, motivations turn characters into more than just figures moving through a plot. You do not want them to be chess pieces. You want them to be purposeful. You want them to make choices. You want them to grow and elevate. And they do this through their motivations. Are they accomplishing their motivations? Are they getting close? Not accomplishing their motivation. Are they accomplishing the things that they're motivated towards? Are they getting closer? Are they getting further back? These things will influence them and the choices they make. In fact, if they are motivated for success and they want lots of money, doom, 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 doom. If they want lots of money and they're motivated to make money, but they realize all their endeavors keep failing and their investments keep failing and they're getting broker and broker. Maybe they start getting more desperate. That creates a change in their personality because their motivations are getting further away from their end goals. Or I should say their motivations are being challenged. And their position is like, I will do anything to get this life. With that said, next video in this series, consistent tone. Maintain a consistent tone throughout your novel to ensure a cohesive reading experience. Question. Think about your favorite book character. What do you think is their deepest, most compelling motivation? All right. When you have a character, because us writers, we should be analyzing, doing analysis, say, on stories, books, movies, television. What motivations do you like to see in characters? I think that's the more compelling. Are you like, oh, I like these motivations, right? And how do you relate to those? Let me know in the comments below. All right, like what you saw today, please subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss out, etc., 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 etc. As always, peace and harmony, truth in action, and keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time. Bye.